Hello, everybody. Friday night, and we are on with senior consultant Mark Peterson. We don't have a Thursday night accountability call because poor little bunny here, bless his little cotton socks, was sick yesterday, and I have to say it's kind of self-inflicted. I'm making an effort to become more healthy. I'm a little heavy, as many of you know, and so I started a major cleanse that I'm doing for a month, and it involves 3 or 4 hours in the sauna each day and working out and stuff, and it kicked my butt yesterday. I had a massive headache that wouldn't go away. I think I would maybe have been dehydrated or something, but fortunately Mark once again was very patient, and we're going to do 2 accountability calls in one. So tonight we're going to get through everything we did yesterday and today. But first I'm going to bring on senior consultant Mark Peterson. Mark, are you there?
I am, yes.
And
glad
first
you're
of all,
feeling
of course,
better.
I'm sorry?
I'm glad you're feeling better.
And it was because of all your hard praying, which you said you were going to do for me, and it worked
Indeed.
perfectly. Thank you very much for that.
Excellent.
But of course, happy birthday, my friend. It was your birthday yesterday.
Yes, it was.
A young 25.
52.
Oh, sorry, got the numbers the wrong way around. Sorry.
Yeah.
You'll take it though, right?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, let's dive straight on in and if you wouldn't mind, we'll talk about obviously the people you managed to talk to and stuff, but just a kind of reminder as a type of invite. We don't have to go into details on the invite, but just a kind of invite that we approach, so we keep, because some people won't remember the invite that we did or whatever. If you could just kind of cover that would be great.
Sure. Yeah. So on Thursday, the 2 invites I was going to do. One was with Paul, owns a dry cleaning business, and I was going to really put on my posture and be very somewhat assertive, I guess, with him, which is a little bit out of my normal comfort zone and not my normal style. But I actually did it. I practiced script, basically. It was a very direct approach, I guess, just saying that I need him to take a look at this, that I'm looking for leaders like him. My wife and I are basically spearheading the expansion of a business with $1.5 billion company, and we're looking for leaders to work with us, and I need him to take a look at this. And he, of course, as I expected, was talking about how busy he was. He, owns rental properties and business and all that. And I said, you won't know if this is for you until you take a look at it. All I'm asking you is that you take a look. And I wouldn't take no for an answer. And he agreed to take a look. It will have to be after the new year. But yeah, he agreed to take a look. So
awesome.
I was really surprised, actually.
So let me ask you then. I'm fascinated now because it is out of your character. You're such a lovely chap. Not that being a little bit more postured isn't lovely. I'm not saying that, but
right.
It was a little out of character for you. How did that feel? Was that empowering? Were you nervous? Were you like, how was that?
I was nervous initially while I was practicing, but as I practiced, I guess I got more comfortable with it, and it felt very empowering when I was there with him and going through it all. It felt natural while I was doing it, I guess, even though it's not a natural part of me. So I think the writing down the script and practicing it over and over again, it became natural. So it's very interesting. I almost chickened out, but I did it. So.
And if you chickened out, I would have known. And that. and for those who are listening to the call, and if you're the accountability partner and you have a situation like this, to take someone out of the comfort zone just a little bit, just 1 foot out, not going way out of character. I'm not saying that, because you still need to be yourself. I think sometimes as an accountability partner, part of your job is to kind of maybe push it just a little bit. And I definitely know you have it in you. Obviously, you've been very successful, and even though it's perfectly capable of doing it, it's just not necessarily your style. So it was just changing things a little bit, and we pushed it a little bit, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Whether he joins or not, is immaterial. We would love him
Right.
to, of course, but success for us is for him to say, yes, I'll take a look. So congratulations, my friend. That's great. And that's a really good, I'm glad this is being recorded. That'll be great for lots of people who are worried about how to approach that type of person.
Right. And like I said the day we were planning this on the other accountability call that I've approached him before about this and tried my normal approach, and it didn't get anywhere with him. So I learned a lot from that, and it seems scary at first, but again, it really helps to write down the script and practice it, and to have somebody that's going to hold you accountable, so you don't chicken out.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And because it's actually not, when in my 20s and 30s, or early 30s, it was never really I was kind of the obsequious salesman. I've always been kind of a salesperson. I would always be bending over backwards to help people. And it was when I came here and started my traditional business that gave me the money to buy the restaurants that I did, where I became the owner of a company, and I didn't have time for nonsense from staff and customers. And I slowly learned this slightly different posture. And people back in England, my friends, said, "God, Richard, you become, you're a little douchey. You got a little bit arrogant, or whatever." And I hopefully it wasn't. It was just that I wasn't that super soft, obsequious person that I was before. And and it's a great thing to be able to do, to have an element of chameleon about yourself, because sometimes there is a time to say, hey, you know what, I can probably help you out with something here, to be kind and to be that, arm around the shoulder, but to be able to just turn the dial just a little bit, not too far out of your comfort zone, and especially when you're talking to a business owner, posture with a little bit of alpha, and you girls can do it absolutely the same. It's not just a guy thing. You can, it's just a little, it's knowing your subject, a little bit of confidence, and believing what you're saying. And the great thing is, we all believe what we're saying. If you were worried that it wasn't really $1.5 billion company that was, going to break all records for the few years to come, maybe that confidence wouldn't be there. But we are lucky enough to know that Ambit's going to do some amazing things over the next 5 years. So good for you, man. That's really, really good. I was very interested to see how that one would go. So fantastic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for your coaching on that. It was really good. And the
No
next
problem.
one was my brother.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of, I often would text him anyway, so I decided to send a text message around lunchtime so it wouldn't disturb him at work, but I wasn't actually, if he was out to lunch with people or whatever, I didn't want to put him in an uncomfortable position either, so I decided to send a text, and I wanted to have something to report on, but potentially at our accountability call anyway. It's very difficult. California is 3 hours away from here. So, when he's just getting out of work, we're getting ready for bed sometimes. So
Sure.
And so I sent him a text message. The approach was going to be it was going to be a little bit extra takeaway on that one. So that basically in my text message, I asked him to take a look, but told him I knew this wasn't for him. Just wanted his family to understand what my wife and I were doing. And asked him. I actually sent him a link to my Energy Gold Rush site and asked him to call me. So he didn't respond at all yesterday, but I can see on my Energy Gold Rush that he has looked at part of the video already. So he's been working on it. So I expect a call tonight or sometime this weekend.
That's excellent. I have to say, I think the full takeaway of saying, I know this isn't for you, I think is probably just what he needed. Bearing in mind, he'd seen it before. Your sister-in-law, his wife, was saying, you're going to jail if you're going to do anything like this. The takeaway, that full takeaway is sometimes it's scary. And someone who's new maybe think that it may be counterintuitive to take it away completely. But all we want to do is have someone take a look. When I was shown, it was taken away from me completely, because my initial reaction when someone said take a look at business was, no, I'm a proper businessman. I don't do those little businesses that, network marketing. I was poo-pooing it. I was wrong, of course, And he said, no, I know it's not for you, but I want your son to look at it, and I want to make sure it's the right type of business for him. So and I was like, oh yeah, of course, great, boom, he had me hook, line, and sinker, and I looked at the business and joined. So if all we need to do is to have people take a look, and if that requires a 100% takeaway, I know this isn't for you. It may or may not be your cup of tea. That's a 50-50 takeaway. This is a 100% takeaway. But he's still going to look, and he may look at it and go, you know what, actually, this isn't what I expected. And that's the great thing about that. The only other thing, I am going to coach you a little bit on, and I feel a bit embarrassed coaching a senior consultant of your caliber, but do you mind if I just offer a suggestion?
No, I'm happy to. I'm never beyond coaching.
Okay, great. When you sent I wouldn't have just blindly sent the link. I would have wanted to have got a time that he was going to look at it. And the reason why, and I'm kind of going into this a little bit for those on the call, is because it's very tempting to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. Here's my link. Take a look at it and get back to me. I'm a little concerned about that. It sounds like it's a good thing to do, and it is a good thing to do from one perspective in that they're getting the information, but it's not good if no appointment is set. And this is where we get to the intentionality of the number 5 in our guidelines of setting the time. If you don't set a time, then it's out there. Now you've got the energy gold rush thing, which for those of you who are new and don't understand what that is a system that's been put together to help people have a look at the business presentation. It's a slightly different one than corporate do. It's done by Sean Cornett and Damian Pakacek. It's a great system, and it's a great way for people to have a look at the business and also know that someone's had a look, which was obviously useful for you. However, I still would, whether you're going to use Energy Gold Rush, whether you're going to use a corporate video, I would still make an appointment. I would have had the conversation with him, and have got some feedback from him to get a time when he was going to actually be able to take a look, because then you'll know when to call him back and answer any questions and cover it. Otherwise, we can enter a mini valley of death, and we talk about these things in AMBIT. You'll be aware of that term as well, I'm sure, Mark. The valley of death, where has he looked yet? And again, Energy Gold Rush does kind of cover that. But for those of you who don't have the Energy Gold Rush, we're using the corporate. We don't know if they've necessarily had a look, and we don't want it just out there where you're calling him. Have you looked yet? Have you looked yet? Have you looked yet? It starts to get a little bit, needy and a little inappropriate. So I prefer, setting an appointment. Say, when are you going to be by a computer? Okay, great. And then when I know you've got the time set, then I'm going to send a visual presentation. I'm not going to send someone my website, because if you say I'm going to send you my website, they'll say, oh, well, just send me the website and I'll watch it sometime over the weekend. Whereas if you call it a visual presentation, then that's not a website, and that's not something you can just send across, the internet. So it's a slightly different change of wording so that people can't say, just send me the link. Because if they say, just send me the link, and you say no, then that's a little awkward. This avoids that awkwardness. So I would have, got into some kind of dialogue with him, done my best to tie a time. Then I'll be back from work tomorrow about 6:30. Okay, great. If you can, once you're there, I'll give you a call at 6:30. I'll drop you a text, make sure you're there, and then I'll send you the visual presentation. Okay, cool, great. Thanks very much. Bye. So I'm actually being much more intentional about tying down a time. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% absolutely the way it should be done, because the way you've done it, it looks like he's looked at it partially. I'm just saying that because it may avoid, for many of you out there who are just sending out your website willy-nilly, avoid that valley of death where you never know if they've looked or not, and you're calling and calling, did they look yet, they look yet? And you've got this, you're constantly wondering, and then you become a pain in the butt, and they don't answer your call. Whereas if you set a time, then that avoids that. I don't know if that makes any sense, Mark, or you had anything indeed to add to it.
No, I would agree. And the other thing that it really helps to facilitate by setting up a particular time where they're going to look at it is that it helps in coordinating a three-way call. If you don't do that, then you don't know when to get somebody set up for a three-way call with you. And you have to have that ready to go, because you don't want to be in the position of answering their questions when they have them. all of a sudden they finish and they call you, and it's like, oh, then you're stuck. Either you don't answer their questions, or you do, and either one is bad. So.
Yeah, well put. I couldn't agree more. So, okay, great. I think that's working out well. Again, slightly change the way we would have set the time, but other than that, I think that's great. I think the 100% takeaway is absolutely perfect for that one. So that's great. So, was there anything else for Thursday that you managed to get done?
On Thursday, I also had lunch with Lynn.
Oh, okay. How'd that go?
Well, so he had seen the presentation before from somebody else. We talked a little bit about what had changed with it since he had seen it last. The difference in the entry, the cost to start the business, the new states, and all of that. And he went home to talk it over with his wife again, because they had both seen it, and he let me know later on that he wasn't interested in doing it at this point. But he didn't say no forever, but he said not right now. So
okay. So that's
I'll
one that we will. Him. Yeah, we'll purge that one. That's on Sunday when we go through our list. That's one that we will purge, and that'll be a 6-month purge, where we'll call again and again. The purpose of that call will to be show what's changed again, because by then you'll be an EC. Course, right?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. So you promoted again to now the second highest position in the company. Who knows what news we're going to hear at Simulcast? You know, I mean, there's rumorings out there. There could be some really great stuff to talk to him about, and who knows? All I know is life changes in 6 months. So that's great. That's a perfect scenario. He did what he was supposed to do. Is he able to become your customer?
He hasn't gotten back to me about that yet. He's away in New York City, seeing some shows this weekend. So I did ask him about that as well, and waiting for an answer there.
Okay, good. Again, for those who are new on the call, who are wondering why I'm asking that question, is if we get a no, we're okay with no's, because remember, in the invite, we said it may or may not be your cup of tea. And that's one of the reasons why we have the takeaway in there. So when they say no, you can say, oh, well, that's fine. Remember, I said it's not for everybody. It helps you keep some of the power. It helps you keep some of your own self-esteem in place. So there's that. But when someone says no, we always have a couple of fallbacks, which is to ask them to be our customer, to help us support us in our venture towards, heading for our goals. Secondly, it gives you an opportunity to try the service to see at some point in the future if it ever makes sense for you to join. You can at least try it. And obviously, hopefully, we'll be able to save them some money. I'm not sure if you have guaranteed savings where you are there.
We do.
But then okay, great. In which case, great, guaranteed savings. There you go. I mean, that's a perfect sell for him. And then the other one is to ask for some referrals. We're spearheading a lot of growth in the area here for this company. And, even though it's not for you, I completely understand that. I know there are some people out there who are praying for an opportunity like this. If you do happen to come across someone who's looking, please give them my name, and I'll make sure I show them with the same respect as I've shown you, with a zero pressure, showing them what we're doing. But I appreciate some referrals. So for those of you again who are new, when they say no, it's a not yet. We say yeah. Well, we protect ourselves. As I said, it's not for everybody. That's fine. Ask them to be your customer, and then ask for referrals. That's kind of the fallback. But good job. That's great. 100% success on that. You didn't join, but that's okay.
Right. Yep.
All right.
And then so today, first thing that happened was I had lunch with Greg. And so the lunchtime thing is difficult, I've decided, because some restaurants are just not conducive to showing your presentation. But he did go away with a presentation to take a look at. He is going to look at it this weekend, and I've set up a time to follow up with him on Monday. So
that's great. And if you set the time up, then no argument. That's perfect. Yeah. One little bit of one preference that I have. This is not necessarily coaching, but just a preference that I really like, is when I'm showing the business during the day, I will very rarely go to a restaurant or a Starbucks. I will occasionally, but most of the time I will go to a hotel lobby because they are much more conducive to business. I used to do business in my traditional businesses all the time. I think we talked about this already, Mark, at the beginning of the week, where it sometimes makes more sense to go to a hotel lobby where there's a lot more. And some of the hotels have such big lobbies, you can kind of hide off in a table in a corner. You can still get coffee. It's lunchtime, so I'm not sure about food. I'm sure you could get food delivered out there if you needed to. But I find those much more conducive, a lot less interruptions, a lot less, pretty girls walking by, a lot less distractions, a lot less noise. And they work really, really well for me. Plus, they also elevate the posture of the business. We're meeting in a hotel lobby, not a, I feel, no disrespect to Mary Kay, but I think the Mary Kay girls are going to meet for Starbucks. Let's go meet for coffee, No, I want to elevate us above that. And again, no disrespect to Mary Kay at all. For those of you who are in Mary Kay, I know it's an awesome company. My wife uses the product. Did I get myself out of that one okay, Mark?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Okay, good. In which case, that's fine. I completely get that. I've been in that same situation myself, and you set the time to follow up on Monday, so can't fault that at all.
Right. I think, I don't know if I mentioned or not, but Greg has seen the presentation. It was many years ago that he had seen it, but he's willing to take a look again.
Okay.
So,
yeah, and we are going to obviously talk about change. What's changed for you, what's changed for the company, what's changed for him. Okay.
Yep. And then I've made 2 invitations today. One was Graham, and he agreed to take a look. It was a direct approach, similar to how I did with, but not as assertive, because Graham is not a real assertive guy. He's director of business development at a company, but actually British guy like yourself, very nice guy. And but he's agreed to take a look, and it'll have to be after the new year because this year-end stuff for him and his job was too much.
A lot of that is happening, but again, I know we've talked about this again, but I am going to cover it again. Don't think that everybody's going to wait until the new year. There are still people joining the business. You do not want your business to slow down for the December month. That's a 12th of the year where you're not producing. And do not believe that people don't join. Sorry, do not believe that people don't join at Christmas, because I did. 4 people have joined my business this week. People are joining. It makes no difference. So, but some people still. There are a lot of people who said, "Can we meet after the holidays?" And that's fine as well. But that doesn't mean you slow down or stop. So, okay, cool. So that's
7 years ago from my birthday yesterday, we started. So
there you go. There you go. Exactly. And you're a Comma Club senior. I'm an EC in the business. So we, if Mark and I were in your business, guys, you'd be making some money from us.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I'm really motivated because I know from doing this year to year that when big events like simulcast are coming up, once you hit simulcast and you hear all of the incentives for attendee only and the different promotions they have going on, and then you start recruiting people, it can take more than a month to bring people in the business. So if you don't start working ahead of time making contacts, it's too late to benefit from the bonuses a lot of times. So
absolutely. I think you've nailed it on. I think you've nailed it. If people are not joining necessarily, then certainly be chatting to everybody, finding out their pain. Not even talking necessarily. There are certain scenarios for Christmas party, Christmas dinner, where you don't want to start pitching people the company, but you do want to be listening for people's plans or pain, or someone got divorced, someone lost a job, someone wants to start something new, someone hates their job. Just be making notes of that, as Mark quite rightly said, to be ready to take advantage of all those big promotions that we'll have at Simulcast. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Mark. That's absolutely right on the money.
Good. And then I don't remember who the last one was. I think it was Michael. Is that right?
Okay.
But I was not able to get a hold of him, so I called somebody else. I left messages with Michael, but I wanted to have another positive invitation, so I called Dan. Dan is an electrician who's going to be doing work on our house on Monday, and I asked him to come early, and I wanted to talk to him about a business that my wife and I are doing, and need a little bit of his time before we get started on the electrical work on our house. And he agreed to come early.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, and so let me ask you this. When you invited him, was it, I guess you've got the power anyway because he's coming to work on your house, you're going to be paying him, so he's not going to say no. But what type of invite did you use for him?
It was a direct approach. It was, I wanted him to see what my wife and I were doing, and we're looking for business partners.
Okay.
So,
and I would also talk about synergy. When you've got someone who's in business, like anyone who's in real estate, someone who's an electrician, as you got there, I think there's synergy in the two businesses. I think that would be something one could touch on there.
Yeah.
But then because
I'll do that before the presentation, because especially for an electrician, that there's good synergy there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say next was, because you were able to do a nice, quick, direct invite and he was coming anyway, the other parts of the invite, your why and the takeaway and all of this type of thing can come in the preamble before you push play on the video and he watches the video. But perfect. And that's, again, another success. Good job.
Yeah. So
I
didn't have any no's to looking, I don't think. I've had all positives. Some of them delayed until after the new year, but and some that haven't responded yet, but no no's to take a look.
Well, if I could ask you a favor for Sunday, when we go through the call on Sunday, we obviously want to. This is the reason why it's called the Purge Call, is because on Sunday we will be purging those who are not interested. We've already broached the subject with one of them because we want to make sure that next week Mark starts with a clean, fresh set of names. And this is what we always want to be doing: is clean names, new names each week that you start with. You pull your top 10 names down from your Erica sorted written list with your accountability partner, and we want to make sure that you've got a clean list, or you've done something with everything last week, so the next week is as clear as possible. It's not always possible to be totally clear, and there's usually a couple of carryovers, but in most cases, especially the people I'm working with on doing this purge call every week, we manage to we're managing to work with 7 or 8 new names every week. With 3 carryovers of people we couldn't reach the week before. But everybody else has been put into the system because they said yes. They have put into a validation cycle of some kind because they said maybe, and they've been purged to a drip list either of 2 months from now if they haven't seen the plan but we just couldn't reach them, or 6 months from now if we managed to reach them, they looked at the plan but it's not for them yet. So we have somewhere for everybody to go, whether they're a no, a maybe, or a yes. And that's very important to the structure of your business, so that every week we have a few new names, and you'll find your 3. Remember, all we need is 3 good people in our business. Get them qualified for you guys up there in the Northeast with 3 customers, 2 customers down here in Texas, and that's the beginning of a business, because then we're going to teach them to do the same thing. And teach them to do the same thing, and teach them to do the same thing. 7 levels down is $11,500 in residual income, which is enough for me. How about you, Mark? Is that enough? Is that going to do all right?
Absolutely.
For you?
Yep. I'll take that.
Awesome. All right. Okay. All right, my friend. Well, So on Sunday we're going to kind of just debrief on the week. If you wouldn't mind. Looking at your week and giving the score, how many you managed to speak to, how many you managed to turn into a show the plan, just to kind of just your stats for the week.
Yeah, no, that's
perfect.
Definitely good. I like in my day job as a software engineer, managing software is all about looking at the metrics of your business and what you're doing performance-wise, and that's exactly what we want to do here. It helps in also forecasting how you're going to do in the future as well. So it's good to know your numbers.
Actually, part of the training course I'm putting together right now is to help people keep some very simple stats during the week. I may actually be speaking with you for some advice on how best to do that, where people can track themselves. Because unless it's not, how can you know whether you're improving or not unless you're measuring what you're doing? Right. And as you say, the ability to be able to forecast, to be able to say, well, you know, when you've got someone who's just started in the business, you can say, well, if you carry on doing what you're doing by April the 3rd, you should be right about RC and halfway on to SC. Wouldn't it be great if you could do that because of the stats you've kept?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the input on that. That'd be great. And as I say, I'm not on the recorded call, but we'll definitely talk about how to keep stats for these people based upon the purge call, because everything we do is numbers. 10
Sure.
names, 2 calls a day. I mean, how hard can that be to keep stats for the week?
Right.
Okay. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Mark?
No, I think that's it. So I added 2 names to the original list of 10. And I'll get you the stats on those for Sunday.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's great. It's a little longer call today, but I expected that because we're doing kind of 2 in 1. But some really, really good training in there, opportunities, you know, with the posture you did, even the training on hotel lobbies, you know, the fact that 100% takeaway was so useful for your brother. I think there's some really good training in this call. I'll make sure I promote it well on the site so people give it a good listen. Mark, that was a great call. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was good coaching. Well, appreciate it.
Well, I try very hard. Actually, it's my wife. She's sitting here next to me telling me what to say. I can't take any credit. She does it all. All right, my friend. Well, enjoy your Saturday, and we will talk again on Sunday, 9 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock my time.
I look forward to it.
All right, my friend. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.